Hi guys, welcome back. And we're gonna shift gears today. We're gonna talk about a very hot topic again. Most of us, or some of us, have been in the past that screwed up our credit. In simple terms, screwed up our credit because of some unpaid bills. It could be as little as $20. It could be as much as 10,000 or even more than that, right? And we're gonna share some tips to if it happens to you, if it happened to you, or if it happens to you now, how to eliminate that from your record, because if you do not, it's going to stay in your credit report for at least 7 years, and you will be kind of finding it hard to obtain credit or good interest rates if you have that bad record in your history. You have on this side, you have someone who was not able who's had that experience and who was not able to rectify it, and who suffered because of that. On the other hand, you have someone who's been there but was able to rectify, and going to share the specific thing. This is about unpaid medical bills. This topic is specifically on unpaid medical bills, and if you had any unpaid medical bills, how do you kind of eliminate that from your record? Is that right, Venkat? And give you some
Unpaid medical bills that goes into credit report,
credit
right?
report.
So,
Yeah.
what happens is, people, I think one third of Americans, like almost 80 million people, 80, 90 million Americans, right? They have unpaid medical bill
Unpaid.
in their credit report, like reported to the credit report, credit bureaus, all the three credit bureaus and the collection agencies trying to collect that money,
Right.
but they couldn't collect it. They just report it, right? So it's really, really bad. Like they're doing a bad thing. But think about everybody getting sick and they have accumulating a medical bill. It's not the same thing as like somebody going and spending spree with the credit cards
Hmm.
and then not paying back. That's kind of like a totally a different thing. But
Right.
what happens right now in the FICO scoring, at least in FICO 8, right? There is a right now it's FICO 9. So the FICO 9 doesn't account that medical bill that much weightage, right? So they understand now that medical bills, the unpaid medical bills reported to the credit bureaus are different from people who don't know how to manage their money, how to manage their credit, right? That's a
Right.
different. Those two are different things. That's still in FICO 8. It was still the same thing. Like they put it in the same category, right? The FICO 9, they put it in a different category and with a less percentage weightage for the medical unpaid medical bills, right?
And currently, so if someone applies for credit, are they
That's
looking
a
for
bad.
549 or?
No, yeah, that's a bad thing. Like all those mortgage, it's been there for a while, the FICO 9, but all the lenders, credit cards, everybody still uses FICO 8.
Okay.
So they don't want to use FICO 9.
Yeah.
Just they want to count for every small debt that
Yeah.
you're gonna, and there is a easy way to do it. Like if you take anything, right, there is always a loophole. There's always another way work around to get rid of something, right? You just have to go through in that channel. You don't have to like there is a channel out there that's nobody knows. You just have to dig a little deeper. That's what we're going to disclose that to you, right? So let's say you are getting $10,000 bill from your ER visit, right? From the emergency room, and the it's after the insurance paid, right? Insurance paid, like let's say $30,000 and you got 10,000, and don't pay it. Let them keep sending you bill. Maybe they will send you for 6 months, 8 months. Keep calling. Don't pick up and don't answer. Let them do that, and then let's say after a year, they will send it. They will send it to a collection agency,
Mhm.
some medical collection agency, right?
Right.
And you will be getting a letter about we have this debt, and you should call within 30 days. Otherwise, we will report that to credit bureaus. We're trying to collect the money. They will keep on calling you probably 3 times a day, right? So don't answer that. You should not answer that call. So it's like once you answer that call and they ask you, is that you? Like, is that you? Like they will name you, right? Name. They will ask you. Then if you say, yeah, that's me, and you admit to that, right? That's like based on the law that you are basically admitting you have that debt. That's a valid debt, right? So you should not pick up the call, you should not admit. But what you should do after you get that letter, you should send another letter. It's something called debt validation letter, right?
Okay.
So what you have to do is it really like anybody can just go and get the mailbox from the mail somebody's mailbox and get the medical bill and say, just make up some collection agency and get the money, right? That can happen. That's why you're trying to validate that debt. So you're trying to validate that debt, like, yeah, there is a letter format. It's called debt validation letter, right? Just Google it, and you should be able to get that format. In that letter, you're basically going to write out, right? You got this letter, you don't know what it is, even though you know something about it, right? Just say you don't know what it is. Yeah, and you wanted to get all the information about what do they have. The collection agency has like all the information about you, whatever they have, you wanted to get it back. Ask them to send you the supporting documents, right? Basically.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, and there are multiple things you have to add to it. The main thing is all the supporting medical documents, everything that's related to your account. Ask them to send it, right? What happens is some of the collection agencies are really bad. Like they may have only 10 people working in that company, right? They probably have your medical records. Let's say they have medical records, right? They will send it to you. You have to send this in a certified mail with return receipt, and then they will, once as soon as they receive, you get a confirmation, right? They received it, and they cannot report it to the credit bureau while this is happening, right? While
Okay.
trying to make sure that's a valid debt, they cannot report it to the credit bureaus.
So
So that's
this is not the credit collection company calling you. This is the medical.
no, this is a collection. Like you keep on ignoring the medical, the hospital,
Oh,
and then
okay.
it went to the collection. From the collection, it goes to the credit bureaus, right?
Oh, okay, okay, right, right.
So collection agencies send you a letter that after this, you're sending this back to them, debt validation letter. And once you send that thing, and let's say they send back to you all the medical records. This is what we have, and that's a HIPAA violation. The HIPAA, that's like nobody
That's
can share
HIPAA, is that right?
HIPAA, right? So nobody can share your medical records uh, other than you. The hospital cannot share your medical records other than you and maybe whoever you authorize, right? You have to authorize. So even to the collection agency, they shouldn't share. So you can, once they send it back, if they have some kind of a medical records about you, you can just send back another letter that you're going to sue them because they violated the HIPAA violation.
Just to remind yourself, so this is a legal, like this is the truth. Like no one can share your medical records without your authorization. So we are talking about the collection agency, sorry, the medical services provider who provided you the medical service and the collection agency. So basically, the medical services provider cannot share your medical records to the collection company. And we're talking about the collection company calling you and sending you those documents that they got from your medical services provider, which they should not have done. That's illegal according to the law. That's what you said. So,
That's right.
okay.
And it's not a legal advice. Like this is from our experience, my experience, right? So I done that, and I was successful at it, right? I could able to remove my collection from the medical debt collection from the credit report. So that's why I'm telling you, it's not a legal advice. So don't take it. It's just for entertainment purposes only.
And so after that, what happens? I'm
Yeah,
excited.
so let's say if they send it and you send back that, you can tell them to sue because of HIPAA violation. They'll have to either take, reduce the thing, and maybe just negotiate after that, because the ball is in your court at the time. And the thing is, like medical debt, like $10,000. What happens? The hospital is going to sell that for $100 to the collection agency. Collection agency is like kind of auction. They're auctioning out these. So if it's 10,000, they will probably get it for 200, 300, who knows, like it's very, very, very like a dollar to the penny, right? Just one person, less than a person, they take it, right? They just pay the hospital like 100, $200 and take that to them, and that's their like. And then what happens is 100, $200 they paid, right? They want to get $10,000 back from the customer, from the patient, right? So that way they can pay their employees, right?
So it's like so once this happen, like once you tell them that it's not what you're doing is illegal and we are going to sue you, they either reduce the price, they either negotiate a
They
price, or
negotiate.
they will take it out in full, or and they cannot. One thing to so the point of this discussion is how to eliminate that from going to the credit bureaus, right? So they wouldn't report it to the credit bureaus.
They even eliminate it totally. Like, oh, you don't need to pay. Don't worry about it. And
The
just
only remaining question I have is you mentioned about when they call you not to admit that it's you who answered the phone.
yeah,
Is that legal?
yeah. It's legal. Yeah, like and right away you are sending that letter, data validation letter. After you get it, right? They will be calling after they send it to you, or before they send it to you, right? Don't answer that, and install the Mr. Number app. So it will tell you in that app itself that's a debt collection agency. So you know
So
exactly who it is.
so anyone who's kind of skeptical about the experience that we shared, it's not illegal. It's about using the system. Like the first half of it,
Just
it's
like
not
a
like
lawyer, right? How
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, and so it's like there's this famous thing in my field, tax avoidance versus tax evasion.
Innovation,
Tax
right?
avoidance is using the system for your benefit, and tax evasion, that means you're doing a criminal act. So this is something like that. When you say that it's not me or whatever, or either you don't answer something like that. It's about using the system to your advantage, and that's what I understand from you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
And
just few more options in that. Like, let's say they don't respond anything,
Hmm.
they don't care, right? They report it to the collection agents, yeah, the credit bureaus, all three
Right,
credit
right,
bureaus.
yeah.
So what you should do, another thing you can do is pay for deletion, right? There is something called pay for deletion.
Hmm.
So you can tell them that don't never ever pay it first and then ask them.
Okay.
Don't pay it. What happens is if you pay that's going to be a last option, last resort, right? First you have to ask them you're going to pay it, but let them remove it first.
Okay.
Ask them to remove that from the credit bureaus first. Then you pay it. Then only you will pay it. You just insist on them.
I think I'll take that option.
Right.
I would just ask them to take me out,
Mm-hmm.
not keep me for 7 years, but I will make sure that I will pay and take me out from the list. Okay, so
And
that
if they
I like
don't do that, that second that option, they don't do it, pay it, wait for a couple months, right? So pay that like $9,700, $200, whatever it's, right? There's one more option actually. You can call them, and before they send it to credit bureaus, you can call them and ask for less money. Like they
yeah,
normally do it for
negotiate it.
40% less.
I
50.
like those options, but it's totally up to you. These are not legal advice that we're providing you. These are just options that you might think. As long as it's not fraudulent or anything, within the legal framework, you can check with a legal expert, of course. But these are options like
These
legitimate
are
options.
like a do-it-yourself options, right?
Yeah.
DIY
And
options.
it doesn't hurt to call them and say, hey, you know what? This is my situation. Can we agreed upon a price or payment terms? Actually, that's what I did. It was actually for $120, and I used to pay like 40. It's just crazy, and it's just kind of a stupid way of making payments. But anyway, you can always, if it's a bigger amount, 1,000 or more or whatever, whatever you can pay, just negotiate a price or payment options
That's
like
going to be a last option though. Don't do it before.
yeah.
And the last option is going to be after you paid that, right? After they reported, you paid it, you pay that thing to them, and then it'll be shown as in your credit report. It'll be shown as paid, right? But it'll be still there for 7 years.
7 years,
So
yeah.
what you can do, just wait for a couple months after they pay it, then dispute it. when you dispute anything in the credit report, right, they have to validate it. The credit bureaus, they have to validate. There are lots of junk stuff in there, right?
Mm.
It'll show up maybe 10 years ago you were living in an apartment. It will still show as your current residence. That's the wrong thing, right? So you have to dispute that. You can dispute anything in your credit report. Go to annualcreditreport.com. That's free. Just go there. You can able to dispute it. You can find the issue, and then you can directly go to each and every credit bureau's site and then dispute it there. And actually you can dispute it in Credit Karma too, but these days they kept it, they asked you to go to directly to the credit bureaus. So once you dispute after 2 months, right, once you dispute it, they will send a letter to the collection agency, ask them to respond within a month.
Mm.
Right? Those guys are really busy calling those people to collecting debt. They don't care about, it's already paid, right? It's already been paid for them, so they don't care about responding them with all these formatted letters and everything, sending it to them right within 30 days. So they most likely 99% they will miss it. Then it'll be gone. Like the credit bureaus couldn't validate that, right? Because nobody responded back for the letter, and they'll remove it. And it's, you start fresh. Your score
So,
will go up 100 times.
with that option, what happens is you lose your money, but that you cannot take. But at least it will be removed from your. It will not be there for 7 years,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
So just
All
be
right.
brave, and you can dispute anything in the credit reports, and nothing will happen. No consequences, nothing. Just go ahead and try it, and that's going to be your last resort.
And what if you dispute it and they actually take action against, like, the the collection
You can
agent?
dispute it again.
Okay, keep
Yeah,
dispute.
yeah. You keep on disputing. That's what I would do.
All right. Great, great points. And of course, you can take advice from the experts. These are just options that you might want to think about, as long as it's within the legal framework, of course. Thank you so much for sharing that, and I hope you learned something. And unless you have some final touch-up points,
No,
Sally.
no, yeah, we're good. And
All right. See you soon.
thank you guys for watching.